welcome to Jen Cares powered by Chozen Live Podcast. Here we engage in tough talks and meaningful conversations. Each week, we feature a guest that will help us stay in the know. We're a podcast that brings the community to you every Monday at 8 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube. If you're watching on Facebook, be sure to like and follow our page. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe so that you never miss a show. Now, here's your host, Jen Cares.
Good evening and welcome to Jen Cares, powered by Chosen Counselors. I am your host, Jen Cares, the founder of Chosen Counselors, a nonprofit organization that seeks to inspire, motivate, empower, and strengthen individuals and families. As always, I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in, for liking, for commenting, and coming back again. I was talking to my brother last week. He was like, rewatchers too, rewatchers. So thank you to my rewatchers as well that catch it the next day or whatever day. I do appreciate each and every one of you. Friends, if you missed last week's episode, Stable Foundation. Let me tell y'all, Dr. Deshaunda Williams came in here and started some stuff, okay, about how we can get a stable foundation. Tonight we're gonna talk about maintaining. But last week we talked about stable foundation. So friends, be sure to go and tune in. Tonight we do conclude our September series, Jen's Boot Camp. And why was it a boot camp? Because this month snuck up on us one. It's just about over. And when it is over, we only have 3 more months to make some things happen. So we needed a little boot camp. So we started off with forgive and forget. There's some things that we have to be able to forgive others, forgive ourselves, so that we could keep on going in this thing called life. Then getting that stable foundation. Yes, it happened, but how can I still survive in the midst of it? Tonight, we're going to be talking about maintaining fitness. Now, I know when you saw that and you thought of boot camp, talking about working out, you know, yeah, that's the part too. We got to do a little exercise to keep ourselves moving. Why? Because that way it doesn't die. We don't want nothing to die. We want to keep it moving because if we don't use it, we might lose it, and we don't want that to happen. But we also want to talk about maintaining our mental fitness, okay, friends? Because in this last quarter of the year, we may get frustrated, irritated, agitated because it's not coming as fast as we want it to come, okay? But we cannot give up. So tonight, we have the amazing Isaiah Banks who's going to share with us and help us out with maintaining fitness. So help me welcome the amazing guest, my friend, Isaiah Banks. There we
Thank you,
go.
thank you, thank you for having me.
I'm so glad to have you. Yes, thank you for joining us on tonight. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I can't complain. I woke up this morning, so that's a blessing within itself. So,
Yes, it definitely is. Because some people did. I mean, I could have slept a couple more minutes. I try to do better the next time. But that's good to hear. Good to hear. So over here at Jen Cares, we always start with a quote of the day. And today's quote of the day is, it's okay not to be okay, but it's not okay to stay that way. Perry Noble. Again, it's okay not to be okay, but it's not okay to stay that way. What are your thoughts on that quote?
that's a beautiful quote. It shows that with vulnerability, everybody has to be vulnerable, right? Because everybody gets hurt. That's just a part of life. But at the same time, there's always support. There's always assistance with that. That's always available. So beautiful, beautiful quote.
Yeah. And it's hard because sometimes somebody say, how you doing? I'm okay. And sometimes we really not okay.
Right, right.
Is it okay for us to share when we're not doing okay? Should we share when we're not doing okay?
That's a great question. And to be frank, it depends. It depends on who's around you,
Mm-hmm.
So we talk about support systems. It depends on what happened. But for the most part, it's typically that support who's around you. Because if you have people around you who, they're asking, are you okay? And you tell them, no, I'm not okay. They can say, hey, such and such said she's not okay. She said
Mm-hmm.
this, she said that, he said this.
Mm-hmm.
So having that great support system around you um, is the place where you should be saying, I'm not okay. And it
Mm-hmm.
should be okay.
Yeah. I think it's hard being vulnerable, like really opening up to somebody, say that I'm not doing okay when I've been like dotting every I, crossing every T, and now I got to tell somebody that I'm not okay when I'm still trying
Mhm.
to hold this together with a piece of tape.
Right. Right.
Sometimes, but opening up sounds like it can be beneficial and it can be helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Now, couple questions before we get into it, because friends, I had some questions, but if you have questions, thoughts, be sure to drop them below. Um, can we talk a little bit about who we should tell these things to, maybe who we shouldn't tell these things to, how to know when we need to stop telling some of the things that we are telling?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's funny you bring this up because I had a client who we had a similar conversation about this for. He was a teenager at the time.
Mm-hmm.
He went on to college now, but when he was in high school, we were talking about friends versus associates.
Mm-hmm.
How everyone that's around you is not going to be your friend. Every
Mm-hmm.
coworker you're going to have in the office is not going to be a good coworker or going to be a friend.
Yeah.
So for some people, it may be best if you say, "Hey, Susie, she's nice, she's a good person, but we don't click." So
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't call her a friend. She's more of an associate. She's more of a colleague, and
Mm-hmm.
leave it like that.
Yeah. So we gotta be able to know the difference, and that's hard because sometimes we feel like, no, they are a good person. We should keep them around. Yada yada. And then we find out they're not a good person. I need to get rid
Right.
of them. And that
Hmm.
hurts too because nobody wants to let go of people, especially people that we thought would be with us forever.
Hmm. Yep. Exactly. Exactly. And that kind of leads into grief a little bit,
Mm.
because you'll have friendships where you and such were cool for maybe 5, 10 years,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Mm-hmm.
you learn something that was just so devastating,
Mm-hmm.
right? You thought they, like you said, you thought they were a good person.
Yeah.
You find out they're totally not a good person.
Yeah.
Um, and that's okay. It's not okay, but it's okay
Yeah. Yeah.
because at the end of the day, you could walk away with that number one thing, peace.
Now that's the one I want to walk away with is some peace. And I want to also highlight that it doesn't mean that the person, I want to bring the balance of, it could be that the person's not a good person, but it could be that that person is no longer a good person or a good fit for you. Because
Right.
every day we're evolving and changing, and what did work no longer works. So, like, what did work of eating ketchup after 8 was great when you were 20, but at 35, 40, you might get a little heartburn and things of that sort. So, your relationship changes and you have to be able to adjust with that. Either take some medicine and stop doing the ketchup. Just example, like I know ketchup sometimes it like give people heartburn and things of that sort.
Hmm.
So being able to go with that too. But I also like the part that you do out there about grief because so often we think grief is just with someone dying, but grief is really just a loss of a person, place, or thing, a relationship, a friendship, a job. Um, and that can be hard sometimes. If we're talking about maintaining, fitness. Sometimes we don't realize that we're grieving over a situation and we're spiraling out. How could one get support with that or be able to identify that they need some support?
I was getting ready to say that. It first starts by identifying it. Um, that takes vulnerability in
Mm-hmm.
order to sometimes identify it because we're us. We're not able to always identify or even see certain things. So that's when you would see a professional. That's when
Mm-hmm.
you would speak with a friend
Mm-hmm.
or someone that you trust
Yeah.
and be able to have that support through that grief, whatever that grief may be. It could
Mm-hmm.
vary.
Yeah. It can vary. But knowing that there is hope, there is hope, there is light at the end of the tunnel. But again, we got to do that T word, we got to talk a little bit. And sometimes we don't want to
Mhm.
talk. But again, we're about normalizing mental health over here, normalizing the importance of us addressing what's going on because there's only but so much you can carry before you burn out and flip out. And we don't want that to happen.
Right. Yup. And then you're snapping over any little thing.
Any little thing.
Um, it's interesting because with vulnerability, for a lot of people, they have issues with that, right?
Mm-hmm,
Understandably, the way life is, or can be, I should say.
mm-hmm.
But if you hold it in, it's going to come out.
Yeah,
It's going to come out. It's
yeah.
like when you're cooking rice and that pot is boiling,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to come out regardless. It's going to
Yeah,
spill over. It
yeah,
may be in an argument. It may be in road rage. It may
mm-hmm.
be in your relationship, but it's going to come out.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And depending on who the person is, we want to be careful, right? Because
Right.
if it's somebody that we hold dear to our heart, if we come out and they like, oh, she done lost her mind, he done lost his mind. And then if they in that spot, they might be like, you know what, I've been waiting to like tell you about yourself too. And once we get that out, sometimes we can't actually all we can never get that back in. So like if we're like going off with somebody, we want to be careful to be able to take that beat. I was reading someone, it was like take 3 seconds before you answer. You know, like make
Mm,
sure you got your words together. Um, but that explosion can really explode and mess up a whole bunch of different things,
that's right.
especially in relationships. You know, if like, oh man, she done did it, he done did it, now I'm homeless, or whatever else is going on, depending on what your situation was.
Yeah.
Good, good, good. Let's see what Belinda said. She said, although having a good support system is good, I don't think most of us are prepared for someone who says they aren't okay.
Mm,
So if somebody does say they are not okay, what are some words that one can give to them to help them to find support, things that sort of like beginner one-on-one to be able to help them because they're not professionals in the area to really handle, oh, I really wanted to do X, Y, and Z, but like, oh wait, I wasn't expecting that. So what's some one-on-one tips for someone if they hear from somebody saying I'm not okay?
hmm Practically, it is to tell the other person, I'm here for you, right? I know how simple that may sound,
Mm-hmm.
but that means so much to somebody when they're going through something,
Yeah.
you know? And I know it's times, or I say for me, I've been going through things, and some people they'll try their best to try to resolve the situation.
Mm-hmm.
They may put their own views on it. They
Mm-hmm.
may give you that advice that you didn't want to hear.
Yeah.
Um, but at the end of the day, what you really wanted sometimes is to just have that person there, to really
Mm-hmm.
just have them listen,
Yeah.
right? So being there for that person is
Yeah.
huge.
That's for sure important. There's times that I got in conversations and when therapy is so short because your background, you really want to help and you want to jump in and help, but you have to also find boundaries of, okay, so do you want me to just listen? Do you want me
Right.
to give you feedback? Do you want to put your feet up and really like process through this? Because I ain't gonna hold you. I got into some conversations with some people and I started asking some digging questions before I know they crying. I'm like, dang, go in there, peel back, Jen, peel back. I'm grateful that you were able to get it out. But one, it scares them sometimes because they didn't know that that was going to happen.
Right.
And then I'm like, dang, okay, Jennifer, pay attention, focus, stay in the game because now you have to get them back to shore after
hmm
these tears that come out, after they really share like what's going on.
hmm Yeah,
Hey, Ms. Robin, she said it can also affect your health too.
that's
Ah,
right.
posing and stuff. Let's talk about that. How does it affect our health?
Oh man, that can lead to anxiety.
Mm,
That can lead to depression. It can lead to numerous many things.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And that's more some mental health piece. As
mm-hmm.
far as the, you can say, physical health, that can lead to a stroke.
Yeah,
That can lead to hypertension. Just having so much on your plate,
yeah,
your body, your mind, which I know we'll talk about later. Um, but everything's just overwhelmed. It
yeah.
starts to deteriorate, starts to break down. It's like a car.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we have to keep up with it.
Yeah, gotta keep up with it, and that's so good. I read a post that was sharing about how um the lady felt like she was failing, but didn't realize like it was depression or it was sad and things of sort, and how other feelings can mask what the real issue is. And we
Mhm.
think that, oh, I'm just tired. No, you a little saddened about losing X, Y, and Z, or this not going the way that you thought it would go, or life in. And
Mhm.
if we're not careful or we're not going to the doctors like we should, put a plug. Friends, did y'all get a physical this year? It is still time. It's 3 more months. Did we go to the dentist this year? It's 3 more months. Please make sure we do that. Get your little cleaning. Because when we ignore those things too, it could cause something greater down the line. Checkups are really important. Get that teeth checked is really important. You get a little hole in the tooth or abscess or whatever happened, you want to get that checked out before it creates a bigger problem. And that's the
Mhm.
same with every aspect of our life. If we're feeling like something is off, the hope is that we try to we work to address it before it gets out of hand.
That's right. That's right.
Which is hard because sometimes we don't know what's getting out of hand. We just know I'm doing the best I can. I'm not a juggler, but somehow I'm figuring it out. But a couple of balls are falling. Please help me.
hmm
And that's a process.
And I'm glad you brought that up because we're so resilient as
Mhm.
people.
Mhm.
We didn't made it through wars.
Yeah.
We didn't made it through riots, the pandemic. I mean, what was that? It was a
Right.
lot going on
Right.
all at
Right.
once. Um, so which is it's good and bad that we made it through all that because for some people, they were able to address what they were dealing with
Mhm.
through all the different traumatic situations.
Mhm.
But for other people, they like, it's a part of life. It happens. They'll
Yeah.
just carry it on their back like a
Yeah.
backpack, not realizing that it's weighing them down actually.
Mm. Not realizing that it's weighing them down. And friends, if you ever get a bag and you put too much stuff in there, I mean, it's been a while since some of us have been in school where we had to carry that backpack. But it's so bad for some of these children. They have wheels on the carriage now,
Mm,
because it's so much. So we got to be able to take out some things. Another thing you said, it highlights another part you said too of being able to walk away with peace, right?
mhm,
So if we're letting go of some of those things, we can sleep a little easier. We're not as stressed. We're not too overwhelmed because some of that stuff ain't even our issue.
mhm,
And
mm,
maintaining fitness, some of it's not our issue. So
mhm,
we gotta maintain this stuff for ourselves. Because if you stress and have anxiety and going through depression, that's not me per se. But if I start picking that up, and before I know, I can't even see straight for my own things. How can we help ourselves to separate what someone else is going through and not, take it on ourselves?
mhm, mhm. That's right. That's right. Yeah. That makes me think too about mothers, really
Hmm.
parents, but I'll just stick with mothers just to keep it just keep it simple.
Hmm.
Um a lot of mothers tend to put a lot of their focus and energy on their kids, and that's what you should. That's your child.
Hmm.
But it can also be a fine line because sometimes they could be so consumed with their child's doing, their child's well-being, etc.,
Hmm.
that they kind of forget about themselves within that moment.
Yeah.
So I always tell parents, the ones that I treat, have that space, where you have the time with your children, have the space to
Hmm.
care for your child's well-being,
Yes.
but also don't lose sight of you within that moment.
Mm. Don't lose sight of you. And that's hard to do sometimes, huh?
Oh man, it is, man.
You talk
It's
about
tough.
parents as a single no children, trying to help Peter, Paul, Mark, John, Jonathan, Sarah, just all these names, they coming out of the Bible, but I mean they just random names because I'm not trying to put y'all names out there. Belinda, Robin, Isaiah,
Mhm.
um, you could get overworked. And we gotta learn how to say no sometimes. I'm learning. It's a process, but we gotta learn how to be able to do that.
Mhm.
So Isaiah, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is Isaiah?
So Isaiah is I do a lot, to be honest. Um, I am a mental health therapist at a group practice um, at Dr. Tina Scott and Associates.
Mm-hmm.
I am a mentor at Calm Confidence, which is a mentoring program for teenagers and younger children in Philadelphia. I am a certified personal trainer. I'm an author. And let me put this right here, an asterisk. I will publish my own book one day. I publish some articles, but a book is coming.
Okay.
And I am also a aspiring bodybuilder. So
Okay.
I do a little bit of things, just a little
Okay. Okay.
bit.
Okay. Now, friends, if you remember, we had Dr. Tina actually in February. She was phenomenal, sharing with us. But you got a quite a resume there. We're doing some mentorship. Uh, you said a trainer, but also want to do some bodybuilding.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
was this always a dream for you to do the things that you are doing?
It was. Ever since I was 16, my mind has been focused. First, it started off with mental health.
Mm-hmm.
I had a school counselor when I was in high school, and I initially wanted to do school counseling. But I
Mm-hmm.
looked deeper into the field of counseling. I was like, you know what? I could see myself doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And just the things I was going through as a teenager, I told myself, I said, I want to be the person I needed when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
If I can be that person, then I
Yeah.
can help somebody else who needs that.
Yeah.
So,
And that goes to the comment that's here from Ms. Robin. She's saying we have to reach one, teach one. It's so powerful when you can be the person that you needed, be the person that you had for somebody else, because so many people don't have that. You know,
Hmm.
teachers sometimes are the most consistent people in, families' lives. I did some social work, and as a social worker, oftentimes I was the most consistent worker in that child's life, because if they had to keep moving from house to house, sometimes it's a different school, it's a different neighborhood, it's a different parent. So being able to make that impact means the world, that we don't even realize that we're doing for the people that we serve. So that's pretty cool that that impact that they had caused you to run with it to help somebody else.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. We have a question. Ms. Miller said, I am curious as what your concept of mental health is or is not.
My concept of mental health.
So what mental health is and what mental health is not. I'm gathering. Please let us know if I have that right.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
Hmm.
So for me, I say mental health is the well-being of your mental livelihood. You could say,
Hmm.
is you being able to have the, I won't say sanity, but that's the best word to come up with right now.
Hmm.
Keep your sanity in a world where things are constantly throwing you off mentally.
Hmm.
And so to stay with the pandemic, we were locked up. We were stuck in a house
Yes.
for a very long time.
Forever. Ever.
So exactly. So for us to not be able to socialize, right? For us to not be able to, let's be honest, go to those stores, right, and buy the things that we want to buy.
Hmm.
Some people felt trapped. A lot of
Yeah.
people felt anxious, depressed within that moment. So to answer that question, mental health is the well-being of your mental livelihood.
Hmm. And because we work to normalize mental health over here at Gen Cares, I want to also share that mental health doesn't mean that it's a diagnosis. Not diagnosing you with depression, not diagnosing you with bipolar, schizophrenia, anxiety. There's possibilities that we can experience some of those things, but it doesn't mean that those things are like with us every day and things of that sort. But if it's like shared affecting our emotional well-being, our ability to interact with others, then it's something that we want to talk about and express to see what's going on. Because life is, relationships. So if we can't get along with others, if we can't go to work, might be some things going on that's causing a blockage where we can't do that. So not saying mental health is, that you have a disorder. Um, but it's just some stuff we want to talk about,
Yep.
and that's the
And
process.
right, exactly. And everybody gets therapy. There are therapists that have therapists,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
know. So like I said earlier about a car, cars need checkups. The car had to get that oil changed,
Hmm.
has to get tuned up, has to get
Hmm.
gas. We're the same way,
Right.
right? We have to get our checkups.
Whether something is going on or whether something is not going on. Sometimes you could just go and find out, hey, I think something is a little off. My mood's just been a little bit different. And sometimes, let's go back to the grief. Sometimes we don't even realize that we're grieving.
Hmm.
So we're going on in life and then we're having some feelings like something is off. I can't put my finger on it. Then you're going to talk to somebody who's like, oh, yeah, I lost X, Y, and Z. I didn't realize it was having such a big impact on me. And grief is sneaky because depending on what it is, the slightest memory, this a scent, a word or a gesture that somebody does can cause you to go back, through that. And that can be something. Yes, that was the best part of the pandemic, leaving, being able to breathe freely without the mask.
Mm.
I gained a new respect for nurses and doctors when wearing masks, because it was different. It was different, but that's good. That's good. So, sorry, Miss Smoke. She said, "I'm glad you mentioned the pandemic because it tested our mental health drastically." Hmm. And let's sit there for a second because a lot of people didn't survive it.
Mm.
It was a process. We got to really know the people that we live with. Couples got to find out, do I really love you? Wait, you do that when I'm not around? Because you was around each other 24/7. Everybody's around each other. And that was a process. And in that, you had to find out, are we going to be able to maintain? this situation? What can we do to help build it? I know a lot of families that did games and family time to incorporate that, but some people kind of stuck with, their electronics and things. But that was a big change. And I often say too that I feel like sometimes our social skills um, got dampened upon during the pandemic because we weren't around people as much. So when you had to come back around people, you're like, oh, it's so nosy. I mean, not nosy, noisy. Where you used to quiet in your house and come back around people, there's a lot of noise and things like so. You had to readjust to being around people.
Hmm.
That was pretty big. Look at this. Miles says, is it possible for someone to get too old to seek therapy or to seek help? Good
Mm,
question.
that's a great question, Miles.
Yeah.
No, no, it's you're never too old to seek therapy or receive any type of assistance,
Hmm.
because with like other things in life, there's transitions,
Right.
right? So from the issues you had at 10, right, to 20, to 30, to etc., something else was new, right? Something you
Hmm.
never experienced before.
Hmm.
So as far as clinicians, that will be called adjustments. That's how we label it,
Hmm.
right? So with that being said, no, you're never too old.
Yeah. And you're actually never too young. There's 3-year-olds that are going to therapy based on situations that have happened in their lives, things they have seen, heard, experienced, that they need some support processing through. But hey, that 95-year-old that lost their loved one, lost their home, that 65-year-old, 70-year-old that went into retirement. That's an adjustment. Like I used to get up every morning and go somewhere. And now I'm just sitting around the house and I need something to do. Maybe I shouldn't retire. Maybe I should find something else. What can I do with myself because I'm about to lose it? So sometimes there's different experiences where you do want to talk things out and seek some support. So that's a good one. Good
That's
question.
right.
Thank you, Miles. Um, so in talking about maintaining fitness, how would you define fitness and why is it important?
I would define fitness as a aspect of movement, right? And that movement could be whatever you want it to be. And
Hmm.
I'm highlighting that because a lot of people think of fitness, they think of weightlifting,
Hmm.
right? Being on a treadmill. But fitness can be jogging. Fitness could be you intentionally taking the stairs,
Hmm.
right? It's you intentionally doing something where your heart's going to be pumping, right?
Hmm.
That's what I would label fitness as.
Gotcha. You lost me with jogging. Look, friends, we're gonna be honest tonight. We're not always trying to do that, but it helps us when we do that.
Mhm.
Yes, thank you. Let's go walking. Let's go walking. That jog, that little whew, you get a little winded. But ironically, last week the guy she was talking about taking the steps instead of taking the elevator or the escalator, and we were talking about how we were going to do better, right, friends? We're going to be intentional about moving, and getting those legs going, and getting that heartbeat going.
That's right. That's right. Because it's so important. And because like you said, initially when we came on, you
Mhm.
said we have to use it or we're going to
Yeah,
lose it.
right, right.
And that's just how nature intended,
Hmm.
right? When our body's functioning properly, in regards to our bones, joints, muscles,
Hmm.
it's within unison.
Yeah.
Um, but when it's not, functioning properly or functioning all together, then it will deteriorate. It'll
Hmm.
self-destruct. And this will lead to obesity, high blood pressure, heart disease. African Americans are number one in heart disease,
Right, right.
so we gotta be mindful of that.
Friends, did y'all see how he used my words against me? If we don't use it, we lose it. But that's what we need sometimes. Sometimes we need that reminder. And in the boot camp, you ain't gonna always like it.
Right.
Sometimes it's gonna be uncomfortable. But if we want to be healthy, if we want to not have some of the challenges that those before us have had or those around us
Mhm.
have, we have to make better life decisions, right? So going walking, doing a 15-minute brisk walk around at your job during lunch. You don't need that full hour to sit down and be eating and chit chatting. We have to be able to use that time to do something to keep ourselves active. And it helps us because if you haven't been walking in a while or jogging, Isaiah probably does that a little bit more than me. God bless. Um, but when you have to do it, it's like, oh wait, you get real winded real fast. Another thing with the mask, when we had the mask on, it was like a breathing thing. We had to learn how to breathe with the mask on. If you walking too fast, it's like, oh, you got to take it off to really get your breath back together. So, friends, we want to be able to do these things. We, myself included, to keep ourselves active so that we don't lose it and that those aches and kinks we can get out. Okay, friends.
Mhm.
Mm. Yes, we have to keep each other encouraged. Now, friends, I am the queen of accountability, but y'all mind your business, okay? Okay. But y'all can't tell me to mind my business because y'all goals we gotta achieve them and things of sort. But we want to make sure we make that happen. So cool. So speaking of that in fitness, some points I had found was talking about like endurance. So when we are, being mindful of walking and running and um, whatever it is that we're choosing to do to help ourselves do better, endurance, it helps us to be able to last a little longer in walking. We won't get as tired. Our knees could do a little bit more. Arms do a little bit more. You can hold them up a little bit longer. Whatever it is that you're doing, why is endurance important, and what are some other tips to help us with improving in endurance? So like you said jogging, you said walking. Well, Ms. Robert said walking, but how long should we do those things to help ourselves be able to maintain a good piece of us doing something of fitness?
Mhm. So, endurance is important. And I want to first go over the definition of endurance because it
Hmm.
will highlight something for me.
Okay.
So, the definition is the ability of an organism to exert itself, remain active for a long period of time,
Hmm.
as well as the ability to resist, withstand, recover from, and have immunity to trauma, wounds, or fatigue.
Hmm.
So that's important because as we go through this thing called life and life starts to, begin life and
Hmm.
it
Hmm.
typically does, we have to be able to continue going, right, through it.
Hmm.
And that was a metaphor for that. But even physically being able to have sustained activity
Hmm.
over a certain amount of time is important for that heart to continue pumping
Right.
for that time. So I'd say at least 20 minutes
Hmm.
walking, at least 20 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes on the treadmill. It doesn't have to be, too fast. It can be maybe a 3.0
Hmm.
on a pace, right? Just something where that heart's pumping,
Hmm.
but you're not like dying on it, but
Got
something
it.
where you're
So,
sweating.
question: if I'm
Yes.
dying on it, you say get off?
If you're dying on it, slow it down.
Oh, okay. Okay. You gotta clarify because some people like, no, I was dying. And he said 20 minutes and then I work out, I'm done. We want to
Mhm.
clarify, friends. That doesn't mean you get off because sometimes we could be overachievers.
Right.
So we want to be able to make sure we're doing something where it works. And as you get better and better, you go a little faster and things of that sort.
That's right.
You
That's
got it.
right.
Um, Miller said, I would like to say that mental fitness is just as important, such as reading, writing, socializing, learning, and networking. Absolutely. Absolutely. We had a guest last month that talked about the importance of just reading 20 minutes a day for 30 days and how we could just broaden your horizons, writing, socializing, interacting with others. You keep that going because sometimes people aren't really people. So they don't want to be around people. But as you go around people every so often, it helps you to open up and learn in the
Mhm.
network and all the good. Hey, Miles said, what is the best way to deal with setbacks with your health and physical fitness?
Mm, I love that question. Um, that's a good friend of mine too, Miles. I went to college with him, so shout out to Miles.
Yes.
And to answer your question, first is to give yourself grace, right?
Mm,
To not beat yourself up that you didn't do what you said you were going to do,
mm-hmm,
because life happens.
mm-hmm,
Um, and also, it's going to be a process. A lot of people start working out around their late 20s, early 30s.
mm-hmm.
And so you have to think you're not going to get right on it right away. It's going to be a process of you getting over that habit that you had of 20, 30 years of
Mm-hmm.
sitting on the couch, eating
Right.
the Doritos, etc. Now you have to replace those habits with new habits.
Right.
So it's going to take time.
And that's a big one. I always share, you didn't learn it overnight. So to relearn it, to change it from what you're used to, No, my mama said, or my cousin when he made the Kool-Aid, he put all that sugar in. I got to keep putting all that sugar in. No, to relearn, you don't do as much sugar because all that sugar. Uh huh. Yes, I know new habits. Woo 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 woo. Um. Yeah. Here's another question. 54th Street seafood. Wait a minute. Now we talking about fitness, but now I'm thinking about seafood. 54th Street. I'm teasing. Say, can I learn? Can I work out if I wear support stockings? Yes, got you. Can I work out if I wear support stockings?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. That's my father, by the way. So shout out to him.
Okay.
Um, and then, yeah, you can. You can still work out. Just keep the pace pretty slow.
Mm-hmm.
Be mindful of how you're feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and also continue to hydrate, right? Because you don't want things to begin to, you know, affect your performance too much and also make things worse.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to be mindful of that. But starting off slow is the best way, to go about that.
Got you. Can we sit here a little longer? Because some of my friends that are watching um want to lose some weight, right? But they
Right.
have some restrictions because of where they are. So like in size or confidence or um just the whole thing of trying something new. They like, they probably got lost when you said jogging too. We just trying to come down the steps in the morning, right? Um what are some tidbits for my older viewers that may need to sit down to do some exercises to help them to still be active, to be able to lose some of that extra love that they have?
hmm Modifications. You can modify every exercise.
Hmm.
You can stay, like you said, you can take a seat. So, for
Hmm.
example, there's an exercise called the barbell squat where you have a bar on your back. And you
Okay.
see a lot of people with heavy weights on it.
Hmm.
They typically just take a squat stance as they're coming down.
Okay.
But what you could do is drop that bar, as in,
Mhm.
don't pick it up, and take a seat in a chair. That's your
Okay.
squat right there in that motion.
Okay.
So it's modifying it,
Okay.
um, and working with a professional
Hmm.
who's able to help with those modifications.
A professional friends. Keyword professional, because you do the wrong thing, you hurt something, then we got another whole situation going on, right?
Right,
So we
right.
want to be able to make sure we get a professional. So this is cool. So how long? Where do you do personal training at? Where could someone find you for that? Do you do that still? Yes, active.
Yes, yes. So I train at a gym. It's
Hmm.
around Allegheny. It's called
Hmm.
Knight's Gym,
Okay.
and it's owned by Tommy Knights and his wife. So I
Okay.
rent space out there monthly.
Okay.
And I actually have a website too, which I'll share. People could just sign up and they'll be on my schedule.
Now I'm slipping because I normally do good research on my guests, and I'm finding out so much more stuff that I didn't find in my little Google search. So please do share that because there are some friends that said in January, or actually December 22, in January 23, that they wanted to do some things fitness wise, and we may not have done that. So again, we got 3 more months to now start. It takes about 30 days, they say, to get a new habit going. So friends, you want to be able to connect with a professional that can really help you get a treatment plan in a sense that's catered to your needs. Because like if you
Mhm,
have bad back problems or some lower back problems, you might not be doing, I'm gonna use something I'm not professional, some jumping jacks, because it might cause you some challenges. But as a professional, they could use some other things that you could do that could help you, one, get any kinks out with that lower back, that maybe you can eventually do some jumping jacks.
That's
Kind of
right.
right. I mean,
That's right.
okay, okay. See,
Yeah.
I be paying attention, friends. I be paying attention.
Yeah.
So friends, these are some things you want to do. So we're talking about fitness and things that start. So can I come to the gym, get this personal trainer, still eat whatever I want?
Mm. Unfortunately.
Wait. Let me plead my case for my friends.
Okay, I hear you out.
um, Going to the gym faithfully. I don't know who this story is. I don't know who this person is. Um, but they're going to the gym, but just eating like what they like to eat. But going to the gym,
So, a few questions.
yes.
What are you eating and how often are you eating that food?
Oh, I made up this person. So let's say they're not eating very well at that. So like maybe one meal and a half a day.
Okay.
Um, and what are they eating? I guess whatever they have a taste for that day. So let's make up something. So if a half a meal, friends, I'm gonna help us. I'm gonna help us today. So a half a meal might be, oh, let's say for breakfast it's a banana and a protein shake or something like that, right?
Okay.
Look at them doing good with the protein, right?
Right. Right.
I don't know. So then between lunch and dinner, it's like a lunch dinner. They're having a salad one day. Another day it is okay, some fried chicken. Come on, Robin, help me out. And they're having some, the holidays are coming. So that's gonna last a couple of days because they gotta get the leftovers out and things of that sort. Um okay, we having some stromboli. Come on, friends, help me out. One day we having stromboli. Um and then it was so good because that sauce is even better the next day. That morning we had a little bit of that for half a meal. Help us because obviously we are on the wrong side of the road.
Hmm. So that's the thing too. A lot of people think that when you're on a diet to lose weight, it's gonna just be clean, 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 solid, right?
Mhm.
Raisin bran and just very dry, basic foods.
Mhm.
But in actuality, you're going to be eating clean, but you got to be honest with yourself too. You're going to still have cravings. So
Mhm.
it's just about those cravings. Um, what are you going to have and when you're going to have it? And
Mhm.
I'm saying that because for your average person, they need at least a cheat meal, at least maybe once a week, right? And it depends on the person. It depends on their weight, right,
Mhm.
and what they're going through.
Mhm.
Um, but for most people, at least once a week, a cheat meal, that should be fine.
So one at least once a week. That means the max should not be 7 times a week because it's 7 days in a week. I just want to clarify for our friends.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
And what's considered to be a cheat?
A cheat is something that's outside of your nutrition plan.
Mm-hmm.
For some people, it's pizza, ice cream, etc. But
Mm-hmm.
typically, it's a high calorie meal, high carb meal. That's considered a cheat meal.
Gotcha, gotcha. She said a weekend meal. The cheat day might be on a weekend.
Yeah.
Now, now let's break this down too, because our friends, we're gonna always find a way to find that, way.
Mhm.
Does that mean that's a breakfast, lunch, and dinner cheat, or one meal is a cheat of the weekend meal?
Yeah, that one meal,
Gotcha. See,
that
friends,
one meal, not a whole day, that one
gotcha.
meal.
My friends is cussing me out, probably like, nobody asked you to ask that, Jennifer. I'm telling you. One meal. One meal. Okay. Lachey Banks said, you have to make fun dishes that you enjoy. And I like to have a variety of foods. My plate usually looks like a rainbow. Portion control. Ooh, portion control. Let's talk about that.
Mhm.
Because buffets used to be a big thing. I'm not sure how popular they are now. Um, but even the buffets had to put a time limit, like, sweetie, you're going to be here for 3 hours. Then you got to go because people was getting too excited. So what is portion control and why is that needed?
Portion control is being able to have a plan about what you're going to have on your plate.
Hmm.
And like you said, the buffets, people would just go in. Their plan was to stack that plate up.
Yeah,
But
every
portion
time.
control is to have measurements of what you're going to eat, right?
Hmm.
And is important because for a lot of us in America, we eat too much.
Hmm.
We eat too much. We eat too often.
Mm,
Um, so that portion, like really having a plan around that, that's portion control.
gotcha. You say too much and too often. I haven't heard that the too often part. How often should one eat?
Mm. Now, for some people, research has supported that depending on what you eat, right, you can even go just once a day having a
Hmm.
meal, especially if it's something that's high protein. You're getting your carbs in, a little bit of fats. Those fats are important. You cannot forget
Hmm.
those. Um, but yeah, for some people, once a day works. Other people, twice a day.
Hmm.
So,
Yes. She said, but come on, somebody. A cheat meal does not mean overindulging.
mhm.
So, I saw a post a little while ago. It was talking about who was eating so much that God said that gluttony was a sin. Um,
Mm.
because somebody was having fun. Um, everybody's overindulging is different. You obviously have to know your limits and things of that sort. Somebody could do one thing and somebody else can't do it because it does not work well with their body and things of that sort. So friends, you have to be able to know, like, when you full, stop, sis, stop, bruh, because it's not comfortable being full
Right,
to
right,
a place where you like can't move and do things. I mean, Thanksgiving and the holidays are coming, so you got at one plate and be like in a coma, but it's still not that thing of like over like I did too much. Um, so again, yes, one meal. So that's it. One meal. I felt alert. Ah, hilarious.
right.
No, but we get back up again. We
That's
try
right.
again. We try again. I felt already not alert. We try again. Oh, this is good. This question. Do not eat after 6 or sunset. Thoughts on that?
Mm. So that's not the first time I've heard about that. Based off the food we eat, it may take some time to digest.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of your red meats can take so long. It can take days to digest beef,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so if
Yeah.
you have that at 12 p.m. on a Sunday, that may not finish until about Tuesday,
Mm,
right? And so for a lot of people, the rule is to not eat past a certain time in order for that food to digest, in order for it to also not affect their sleep. I'm
mm-hmm.
someone I can tell that when I typically have bad quality of sleep, it's
Mm-hmm.
because I ate too late in the night.
Mm,
And I wake up and I'm the worst when I'm cranky. Man, I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to do anything.
yeah.
Um, so yeah.
So, on the opposite of that, so my friends, because life be life, and sometimes it is after 6 or it is after the sunset, and you did not get to eat something. What's the best options for you to do if it is after 6, it is after sunset? Um, because if you don't eat then and you realize that you're hungry, you're maybe up at midnight, like, I need a little snack. I'll make me an egg sandwich or tuna sandwich or eat these chips or this ice cream, whatever you have. I'm not a junker, so I don't have junk food. It goes stale because I forget I have it. Um, what would be the best option for somebody to do if it is late?
Mhm.
Absolutely not a burger, friends, but you know.
For that person, I would recommend for them to have something that's easily digestible.
Mm-hmm,
Um, maybe for them, it is a protein shake.
mm-hmm,
For other people, it may just be a smoothie, but
mm-hmm,
just to have something in you to keep you going, to have that fuel,
mm-hmm.
but just something not going to keep you up, at night.
Gotcha. So if it was a bowl of cereal, if it was a bowl of oatmeal, are those things okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Something small, something light, you kind of get it, and quit it. And
Hmm.
then you try to do better the next day to eat before that time.
That's right.
Question before I go to this next one about sodas. Um, Intermittent fasting. So like not eating for so much time and then eating. What's your thoughts on that?
And that goes into the research I know about eating once a day,
Okay.
in order to really have that food digest
Hmm.
while you're also being active around that time. That's the whole premise around that,
Okay.
is for you to burn some calories in between meals.
Mm. I think some people might forget that part or not know about that part. They just eating and then not eating and feel like they're doing something and not burning calories and feel like this don't work. And then we go back to whatever the old habits are.
Right, right.
So friends, we gotta do some real research on what it is that we're trying to do because we want results. And if we're not following all the steps, we're going to come up lacking. Linda said, "What is your take on diet sodas?"
The only thing is artificial sugars. That's the only downside to it.
Mm-hmm.
Is those sugars. Just not a fan of them. Um, at that point, you might as well have the regular sodas.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it depends on the person. It depends on the circumstance.
Okay.
So, yeah, it really just depends.
And then if you're doing a regular soda, then maybe just half a can and not the whole can,
Right.
if it's a can. But then really just the cup and not the whole bottle because the serving size is there for a purpose, friends. Um, I do a lot of sparkling water. Because the soda can be so sweet, and the sparkling water might be like a strawberry or a fruit flavor of things of sort, but it doesn't have sugar per se. Well, it says it doesn't. But a lot of us, one of a certain community, we like our ginger ale because it makes us feel better, with some saltine crackers, but also not overindulging because it still does have sugar in it. Like it's healing, but it can be too much too.
I love those LaCroix myself. It's really just the carbon. You know, a lot of the foods that we have and drinks that we have, it's not always the flavor. Sometimes it's the foundational stuff. So, for example, um, with chicken, for example, it's not always just the chicken that you want,
Mm-hmm.
right, or that Burger King that you want. Sometimes it's just the salt, right? It's the sugar that you want, the
Right,
foundational pieces.
right, right.
So,
Mm. I like this. Robin said, "Eat to live, do not live to eat."
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because if you live to eat, one, it gets expensive after a while, friends.
Hmm.
Um, and speaking of that, eat to live, when you were going out to eat, and ordering things at store, what are some words of wisdom for what we order? Because sometimes we feel like that's our cheat meal and it's not our cheat day,
Hmm.
and we be excited. What's some words of wisdom?
Mm, I would say that have it. Make sure that that meal is something that you're at least getting protein. And people hear protein, you think of muscle building. Protein is also important for that brain health, right?
Mm,
So make sure it's something with protein. Make sure that with the carbs, it's nothing too extreme. You know, you're not just having just so much carbs that you feel like you have to fall over when you finish it.
mm-hmm.
Um, and also have some fats. Make sure it's something balanced. You know,
See, when we was in school, they was doing that food pyramid, and we had no clue what it was about. And now that's one thing that's beneficial to us as adults. Still, I mean,
that's right.
we didn't need the algebra. I didn't need it, but somebody does. But the food chart, friends, is something that we want to be able to Google in time. Belinda said, "Okay, so I drink one a day, the diet soda."
Hey, yes, yes.
And again, friends, you know your body too. So, though the Surgeon General, whoever could say whatever, CDC, FDC, ABC, I don't know those acronyms. You have to know what works for your body. So when if something goes off or something is different, check in with your doctor or you pull back. Because sometimes people be like, something's just a little off. And it's a new drink that you started and you find out it's not good for you. So paying attention to what works for you as well.
Hmm.
Mm. So the people seem to be excited about having a personal trainer. Um, what are the other benefits of having a personal trainer that people should latch on to? I know people go to Planet Fitness because they're open 24/7, um, and they do offer classes and things of that sort. Um, but sometimes when you go into the gym, you can be so fearful because there's so many different things you could do. I've seen enough videos on TikTok and Instagram of people using equipment, and I don't think that's the way they supposed to use it, but they doing something. Um, so, what are the benefits that you, as a physical personal trainer, can support someone who goes into the gym and just feels like it's not the Toyland or Chuck E. Cheese that I knew as a kid? This is like real work, but I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this stuff.
Hmm. So the first thing is to, like you're referring to, is to teach the person how to properly exercise,
Mm-hmm.
how to properly use that equipment and those machines, because you can get hurt,
Mm-hmm.
right? And if you get hurt, depending on what happens, you may never ever be the same. So it's important that you do get that assistance with that.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, I would say it's important to have somebody who holds you accountable. And what better way than to have somebody hold you accountable than to pay them,
Mm-hmm.
right? And yeah, right. Um,
I like that.
but
Yeah.
yeah, just to put it frankly,
Yeah.
um, but at the same time, a lot of trainers are in it for the passion of helping others. I do want to
Mm-hmm.
say that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so having somebody there to let you know in January you had this plan,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's April, maybe it's February. To be honest, you fell off. It happens.
Mm-hmm.
But my whole job is to make sure that when it comes down to March and April, you're able to still be on track or at least get back on track,
Yeah.
right? Because we all fall off,
Right.
but it's
Right.
important that we get back up, right?
Right.
And lastly, I'll say um, personal trainers also give clients, in an indirect way, you could say, self confidence,
Mm.
because it can be scary to go into a
Yeah.
gym and you think people are judging you, you know, you become self conscious. Um, but with you working with a trainer, you're able to now have this confidence to say, "Oh, I know how to do this machine,
Mm-hmm.
right? He showed me this last week, so I have it right now."
Mm-hmm.
Next thing you know, you're in the next machine, the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah, like workout's done, your confidence is up.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. For sure, learning how to use the equipment correctly. Um, Another thing I want to share about going to the gym, friends, is that I know some of y'all are single, but the gym is self care for some people, and sometimes people get a little confused when they go. They're like, "Oh, he looking at me, he doing that, she doing this, things that sort." If you really go for what you're going for, you get what you're going for. It's a lot of videos of that too, where sometimes people take things out of context of they wasn't paying you no mind. They was looking at you because you was doing it wrong. You didn't want the help of the person that was trying to help you. Um, so it really is. It can be a safe place if you make sure that you maintain your safe place. Planet Fitness' main thing is like a no judgment zone. So going in there and being unashamed of wherever you are, because somebody, everybody had to start somewhere. Um, and as you were sharing it, I was just reminded of the importance of it being an investment in yourself.
Mm,
It's your life for you to be able to live and flourish and do all those things that you want to do. Run and not get winded. Um, so, friends, it's an investment in yourself of getting that gym membership. I know you may have a bike at home, you may have some weights at home, you could do the YouTube videos at home, but some of us, if we're honest, we're not using those things.
mhm, mhm,
So when we pay and we do that investment, somebody is holding us accountable to get it done. I'll never forget years ago when I canceled my Planet Fitness. They was like, what's your reason for canceling? We got to put it in there. I was like, um, she was like, well, you could put that the schedule, didn't work. Planet Fitness is open 24/7. But
mhm.
life be life where sometimes you really just couldn't get there, so you feel like you was wasting money. So if you are doing it, friends, I challenge you to really put forth your best foot and your effort to really do what it is that you're trying to do, um, to be a better version of you, so you don't get winded. You can go up and down them steps without a problem.
That's
You can do
right.
that jog, and when you say next time, I'll be like, "Yep, you didn't lose me this time. I was jogging too, Isaiah."
Right, right.
um, And I like this. Exercise gives you energy.
That's
Absolutely.
right.
Gives you energy. So it's a benefit to do that.
And
Um, Go ahead.
I was gonna say really quickly, to put it frankly, exercise is also important for that heart
Hmm.
because we want to be there for our loved ones,
Hmm.
right? We don't ever want to live a day without seeing the ones we care about, there with us. And
Hmm.
so we have to take care of ourselves, right? Nobody else is going to do it for us. It's never going to be something that, you'll ever be forced to do.
Hmm.
Um, but it's something that benefits you in the long run.
Yeah. I like this question. It kind of touches on what I was sharing. She said, what advice can you give to people that are self conscious about going to the gym?
Mm, great one. Great one. So for one, I'll say the world we currently live in is so technology based, it's so fast, right? So much
Hmm.
going on. Everybody's focused on themselves, right?
Yeah.
So typically you may feel that this person's staring at you. You may feel that they're, going to say something to you, and they may, but it's something that's typically around them, right?
Hmm.
So with you feeling self-conscious, that's natural, is a part of humanity.
Hmm.
Um, but that's where the self confidence comes in at, where you start to take baby steps, maybe venture off to a new machine that you've never tried before. Um,
Hmm.
Maybe ask a personal trainer who's there at the gym
Yeah.
how to do it. You practice on that, and you just start to move to the next one as time goes on. So just have those reminders to yourself that people aren't always focused on you.
Hmm.
Um, and you're there for you. It's an investment at the end of the day. You're the most important person to you. So
Hmm.
be mindful of that as well.
Yeah. And friends, don't let that cause you like bail out and give up on yourself, because you're going there, as Isaiah said, for yourself, to do what you need to do for yourself, to get out there, get active. And before you know it, it's like second nature to things that you're doing. You're going from this one to this one. You're able to help somebody else or some like give them inspiration and encouragement to keep on going. And again, everybody had to start somewhere.
Right.
Um, You're self conscious of going, and somebody else that seems trim and fit is self conscious too, because they still aren't quite where they want to be, or they're still having some other challenges health wise that's causing them to like, I gotta go harder. But ding ding ding, also knowing the boundaries of that too, so you're not burning yourself out. You're not going where you're just exercise, and having a balance of it, because too much exercise can also be damaging as well. So, friends, find that balance. Reach out to a personal trainer so they can be able to support you to know um, how far you should go,
That's
and
right.
being honest with yourself.
Hmm. Hmm.
Doing too much can hurt you.
Hmm.
This is a good one. Andrea said, "Hey, girl, I just scheduled all of my doctor's appointments. But what should we be asking our doctors when we see them? Everything."
Hmm. Right. Um, you should be asking them about that heart, right? Seeing how you're doing with your blood pressure,
Mm-hmm.
getting those checkups on that. You need to be asking them about your diet, what kind of diet you should be having, right? What's the recommended diet for you?
Mm-hmm.
You should be asking them about how much you should hydrate, throughout the day. People can overhydrate at times, and other times they can become dehydrated. So hydration is key. So they're foundational pieces around your diet, blood pressure, um, the hydration. That's my recommendation with that.
Yeah, yeah. And friends, I'm gonna get on this boat too, because if something feels off, keep asking questions. If you feel like you're not getting answers, get another person to give you a consult. I'll never forget every time I'm finding a new doc. When I had to find a new doctor moving back to Philadelphia, or when I found a doctor when I lived in Maryland, I'm asking the staff, "How is the doctor? How's their bedside manner? How long have you worked with them?" To find out their, level of, bedside manner, but also how long have you been a doctor? Because if I don't know, I want
Mm,
you to know how to help me. If you just got out of school yesterday, I'm not knocking you. I'm not, because things have changed. But again, getting your comfort level where you feel like if you don't know, that person can get the answers that you need. And again, if you're feeling unsure, if you're feeling like something is going on, I was talking to a friend the other day. She was sharing how the doctor said they couldn't help with something. She went to another doctor. It was like, oh, they definitely could have helped you. They could have gave you X, Y, and Z. So that's why
mm,
sometimes if you're unsure, if you are nervous, if you are whatever doubts you may have, get a second opinion if needed. Um, and challenge your doctor too. They should be able to answer the questions because that's their level of expertise to be able to help you. But ask them all the questions and also be honest, because you'll ask them, you saying like, "How's your heart doing?" And they'll say, "Well, have you been having any problems? Have you been having any aches?" "Oh no, I've been doing good and well." You have been having some aches. You have been having some problems. They can't help you if you're not honest. The
mhm,
trainer can't help you if you're not honest. You say you want to, work on your knees or whatever like that, get them, Megan knees, and you didn't say that you had an operation on your knees 2 weeks ago or whatever happened, and the personal trainer is trying to help you to do something, and it's like, wait a minute, you know? So you have to be honest. Telling the story helps nobody.
mhm, mhm,
Telling the truth helps you. Okay? So
mhm.
yeah. Yes. When you see others working out, it does encourage and inspire you. But also, I would say don't be careful not to compare yourself, because you can see somebody else working out and be like, "Oh, I wish." You'll get there. Pace yourself. Pace yourself. Pace yourself. Yeah, this is good. This is good. So it sounds like this fitness was a hit today. Everybody want to know about fitness.
I
I like
agree.
it because we got 3 more months. I thought we was going to talk about mental fitness, our mental, but it does help our mental if we are having energy. It helps us get rid of stress by going to the gym. Some people they do like the boxing, if they spar and things of that sort, helps you to hit something. Sometimes they have the Rage Room here in Philadelphia, if you're in the area, to be able to break some stuff sometimes. Um, but being able to be active makes a world of difference.
Mhm.
What made you do the fitness? What was the thing for you that said, yes, this is what I want to do?
Oh man, it was my brother. My brother inspired me. He's a personal trainer too,
Hmm.
um, and his name's Isaiah, spelled the same and everything.
Okay.
Um, so with him becoming a trainer, that inspired me to want to become a trainer myself.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, and I would say what made me stick with it was also learning statistics, learning that for people that look like me, the number one killer isn't murder. The number one killer isn't drunken driving. It's heart disease,
Yeah.
right? That's the number one killer for us.
Yeah.
Um, so with me knowing that I wanted to get in, I wanted to make a difference. And so be as it may, that's what led me to it.
Yeah.
And stuck with it, to stick with it.
Saving lives, definitely. If they, only if we buy in, friends. We gotta buy in if we want to live and not die. I mean, we will die eventually, but if we want to like live a little longer, we gotta be able to do these things to help ourselves, friends.
That's right.
That's good. What are some words of wisdom you want us to walk away with as it relates to anything we've discussed, anything that might have been on your heart? The floor is yours.
Mm. I would say have grace with yourself, but also have that balance where you are holding yourself accountable. Because a lot of times grace can kind of you give yourself too much leeway, right? And next thing you know, months have passed. You haven't went to go see the doctors. You
Mm-hmm.
haven't been to the gym,
Mm-hmm.
right? But at the same time, remind yourself that you have these goals, right? You have these things that you want to set out to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you have to put some motion into that,
Yeah.
and you have to make sure that working towards that. So my last words I'll say is just continue to honor yourself, continue to respect and love yourself. And a part of that self love, is also being able to treat your body like a temple, right? And we're not going to be perfect, 24/7. I'm not perfect 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you want to respect yourself. That means your mind, your body, and your spirit. You want to make sure it's balanced across the board and do your best with that. Being able to go to bed at night and tell yourself, I did my best, right?
Mm-hmm.
No matter what challenge I went through, no matter what adversity, came across my way, I still did my best with it. So give yourself that grace, hold yourself accountable, and continue to honor your mind, body, and your spirit.
Mm. So good. Honor yourself, friends. We're so quick to help so many other people, but forget ourselves. Honor yourself. Have grace. That's self love. Love on you to want you to be here a little longer. Ugh. And then I did my best today. I like that. I'm used to it. But I'm gonna be Jennifer, you did your best today. You're gonna try to get them on. I definitely did my best today. Monday, okay? I was in front of the computer all 7 of the hours I was there, okay? Um, but I did my best. And we want to give ourselves grace. This is really good. I do appreciate you so much for joining us. Can you in the chat drop in the website for people to connect with you so I can share that, please?
There
Friends, we
you
got
go.
a couple more seconds. If you have any questions, be sure to drop them. Um, because again, after today, after today, you want to be able to go to the website to get some support. I'm going to put that across the screen. So be sure to snip it, screenshot it so that you can have it. Livefitness215.com. Friends, 3 more months. A lot can happen in what's that, 90 days? 369.
Hmm.
Yep, 90 days. A lot can happen. I know the holidays are coming up. You can make that your cheat day meal, 1 meal though, 1 meal. So that you can be able to enjoy the holiday but still get back into that fitness. So that when January comes, be like, what? 25 who?
Hmm.
25 is chasing you, 2025, okay? So friends, be sure to check out that website, livefitness215.com. If you are in need of a trainer, and you say you're in the Allegheny section of Philly,
Yes.
gotcha. All right, friends, honor yourself. Honor yourself by connecting, because some of y'all have been thinking of doing this for a while. This is your sign. This is your confirmation that you need to go in and knock that out. Okay, friends.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
so 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 good. I thank you so much for joining us tonight. I hope you had a good time. Did you have fun?
Oh man, I had an amazing time. I
Awesome.
love the questions. I love you hosting this. That was amazing, amazing job. So, man, I love it. It was
Also,
fun.
we think that, I mean, maybe the next time we'll talk about mental health, but tonight the topic was fitness. People want to get their bodies right, okay?
Hmm.
They trying to be, they wasn't summer ready, but they're going to be winter ready, okay?
That's right. That's right.
Let me see. Was there a question in the box? Let me see. Yeah, something just popped up. I lost it. I lost it again. Very good. Very good. And simplicity. Yes. Sometimes we gotta keep it simple because sometimes we do too much, you get lost. We don't want to lose nobody. We say walking for 20 minutes. Actually, you say 30 minutes, 20, 30 minutes
Yep.
to get that heart going to the doctor, getting that heart checked, asking about the heart, being honest with the doctor,
So,
and honoring yourselves and telling yourselves, friends, I did my best today. I'm taking it and I'm running with it. I'm gonna write it down so I don't forget.
hey,
But
you have it.
you're running with it. I thank you again so much for joining us, Isaiah. I'm gonna be in touch for some other opportunities to check in and get some support and resources for the people. Okay.
That sounds like a plan. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. May you have a great evening.
You do the same.
Awesome. Good night.
Bye, everybody.
Friends, I hope that you enjoyed tonight with Isaiah talking about maintaining fitness. Friends, I'm not even gonna get on my box to say that y'all was trying to like really get fitness because I'm not gonna hold y'all accountable because then y'all want to try to hold me accountable. I know. I got it myself. I'm gonna do my little 30-minute walks, okay? I'm gonna take them steps, not the escalator, not the elevator, because we want to keep that heart pumping and going. Oh, friends, don't forget our quote of the day. It's okay not to be okay, but it's not okay to stay that way. Perry Noble. Again, friends, it's okay not to be okay, but it's not okay to stay that way. Oh, friends, I do hope that you enjoyed this month. If you do want to be a guest on Gen Cares, email us at info@chosencounselors.com. You can also send me a message, comment, say, reach out to me. I want to talk about something too. Because, we like talking to people and sharing information with the community. Friends, be sure to join us next month as we will launch our bonfire conversations. Check out who we have coming.
Well, hey there, chosen friends. How are you really? Tune in to the Gen Cares October series, Bonfire Conversations. On Monday, October 2nd, we will have Monique Duell for Giving Care. Then join us Monday, October 9th for I'm Not Okay with Tamara Hubbard. Next, we will have Majaya Ryans for Take Care of You on Monday, October 16th. We will close out on Monday, October 23rd with Jeffrey Goodson for Standing Strong. Tune in on Facebook or on YouTube by searching Chosen Counselors on Mondays at 8 p.m. Be sure to mark your calendar and tell a friend as this Gen Care series is brought to you by Chosen Counselors.
Friends, I do hope that you join us next month for Bonfire Conversations. Why? Because we're going to get cozy talking about some things. Friend, hey, I love to walk. All right, friend. I'm already holding you accountable for this book. And I didn't forget, I'm checking in next week to see how it's coming along. But I'm not going to check in with you about this book. We in this together. We're going to hold each other accountable. Accountable. We got this. We got this. You know what? Let's just have a good night, friends. We don't got to talk about it no more. Do your best, though, friends. And we know what we need to do to keep ourselves healthy and keep ourselves active and moving and doing this thing called life. I do love and appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in. I hope you have an amazing week. Guess what? I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Until next time, good night.
Friends, we thank you for joining Gen Cares this week. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Unable to watch us live? Be sure to find us on your favorite podcast platform. You can also visit our website, chosencounselors.com. That's chosen with a Z, to stay in the know and most of all, never miss a show. If you found value in this show, we'd appreciate you sharing it with a friend. Most of all, be sure to tune in for our next episode as we specialize in bringing the community to you.